Jennifer Jones.
First, I'd like to thank the McMullen Valley Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. In Quartzsite, when you speak truth to power, the police chief tends to drag you out of the room. So it's very refreshing that you can have an event like this where all people, both sides, even Mr. Weiser can come. This is my first, God bless him, this is my first partisan election. And you know, I find that very interesting because I believe the good ideas can come from all places, even people you strongly disagree with or people you don't think you have anything in common with. And so it's very nice to try and listen to all sides. Everybody hopefully knows by now that I'm a big proponent of free speech. I think everybody should have enough time to make an idiot of themselves, and that especially includes people who want to run for public office. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. One of the things that I would like to do a little differently than what's being done right now, I'd like to see the supervisors' meetings move to the evenings so that working people can attend them. Okay? I mean, you know, part of the problem is there's a lot of people in this county who don't understand where their money's being spent. They're not at the meetings. And in Quartzsite, thanks to a couple people who are here tonight, we videotape those meetings and put them on YouTube. I'd even like to take technology one step further. I think that we could even radio podcast the show, something like Blog Talk Radio, and put the supervisors' meetings on in real time where people could listen to them on their phone. If you live all the way out in Cibola or you live all the way out in Alamo Lake, you shouldn't have to drive just to sit and see what's going on and then read about how your money's being spent a couple weeks later in the Parker Pioneer. You should be able to know immediately how your representatives are voting, what's before them, what the arguments are. You should even be able to probably post comments and chat in real time about it. I want to see the people of this county engaged in how their money is being spent. You know, and some of you might know me from a crazy little publication I started a year and a half ago called the Desert Freedom Press. If you haven't read it, pick up a copy. If you want to know where I stand on issues or where I come from, that's probably the quickest way to get a handle on that. You can read it online. But here's the thing. Since a lot of things have happened to me in the last year, I've made a lot of connections. I was at the Republican National Convention. I talked to a lot of people. Prior to this, I've had a lot of contact with state representatives and people in the legislature. And I'm very much willing to take the concerns of the people of District 3 to those people and see what we can do to make this a better county. What I won't do is go to somebody like Senator Gould and say, how can you pass a tax that does an end run around the voters of this county so that they don't get to have a say-so in how we pay off a debt that the current supervisors allowed to double during their tenure. They turned a $9.2 million judgment into a $20 million bond debt that each and every one of you and your children will be paying for the next 20 years. I don't see growing the county by increasing sales tax and discouraging people from shopping here when they can drive right across the river to Blythe where the sales tax is, what, 7.75%? Quartzsite has its own tax. We probably have the highest sales tax in the nation. Now, it wouldn't really be for me to decide whether I wanted the debt or the dump, because that's something that should have been dealt with in work sessions, in town hall meetings, in a public forum that allowed you to decide if you wanted the dump or the debt, and whether or not you want to see a company like Allied continue managing it. Sure, the debt's a resource, absolutely, but it's your resource, not the resource of the current Board of Supervisors. I spent 10 years volunteering as the Executive Director of Legislative Affairs for a National Dog Registry. And during that time, my motto was, and still is, a quote by President Lyndon Johnson. It says, "You should not examine legislation in light of the benefits it will convey if properly administered, but in light of the wrongs it would do and the harm it would cause if improperly administered. And ordinances are drafted by a lot of well-meaning people who just don't know any better, and they don't stop to think about how these things can go wrong. But I look at everything that way, and I look at laws and ordinances and rules as not, are they needed, but do they conform to the Constitution, and are they what the majority of the people really want? I deliver my newspaper all over the county. I'm very familiar with the county, and I think that I would do a very good job to represent the interests of the people of the county and not the interests of my friends or my neighbors or my husband.
How do you feel about the Quartzsite New Community Center, and why weren't you there today?
I'm so glad you asked this question. Okay, the Quartzsite Community Center is a community block development grant. This grant was awarded at a fixed rate. It has to be completed by January 30th on time and on budget. If it is not, the town of Quartzsite has to pay back that $249,000. The town of Quartzsite lied to the people of Quartzsite and said they were getting a free community center. Here's the truth, okay? The town of Quartzsite knows that that park is leased from the BLM and that they couldn't build on it without doing an environmental impact study. They had to have known that that would eat up most of the community development block grant money. So now what happens is they had to take the lowest bid for the contractor, whatever that is, pay the difference out of the pocket of the people, and get it done by January 30th. They have not told the people what it's going to cost them. They have not told the people what that bid was, and they have not put it before the council to approve paying that bid or that contract. They just took the lowest bid and they stuck the people with the bill, and that kind of business is wrong, and it is exactly why I'm running. You got stuck with Yakima, Quartzsite got stuck with the CDBG lie, and you have to be watching your government, and if you're too busy to do it, then I'm willing to do it for you.
What do you know about the UN Agenda 21 and how much it has infiltrated our communities, cities, counties, and states?
Okay. Actually, a couple of years ago I didn't know very much about Agenda 21. Of course, I didn't know anything about running a newspaper either, but I learned how to do it in 10 weeks. So I actually have written an article about Agenda 21. If you go back through my archives, you can find it in the Patriots Corner. It has unfortunately infiltrated a lot of aspects of our lives that we're not even aware of. A lot of things like green energy mandates and things stem from agreements with the United Nations. And I'm big on recycling, I'm big on green energy. Personally, I'd rather see you all get a government subsidy to put solar panels on your own houses rather than build a commercial plant that will give us jobs for a year and then ship the energy to California's power grid. But that's just how I think, and I'm not here to do what I think. I'm here to do what you want me to do. Just like I think food banks are great, but they only feed you peanut butter and rice, whereas farmers markets and community gardens feed people. People feed people. You know, I think they do a better job than the government. You know how to run your life. I don't want to do it for you. I want you to tell me how you want it done.
Your voter registration address shows you live out of your district. How do you qualify to run for District 3?
No, that's not true. My voter registration says that I live on Posa North, LTVA, which is in District 3. I'm not ashamed to admit I'm one of the 99% that you heard about at the Occupy movement. I'm not rich. I'm motor homeless. I'm the kind of person that knows how to live within a budget. And it's cheap to live on the LTVA, which is why a lot of people come to Quartzsite and do it. Maybe people don't realize how much BLM land there is within the Quartzsite town limits. But you can buy a season pass and you can buy a summer pass and you can live there cheaply. And I do. It gives me more money to spend on my dogs and my husband, and there's a lot of peace and quiet in the desert. I enjoy it. It's a beautiful place to live. I've been in Quartzsite 12 years now, and I can't think of any place I'd rather be. But I really do live in District 3, and I know I can prove that because another news publication came all the way out to my campsite and took pictures. So if you don't believe me, hey, you can read their publication or you can read mine. Hey, read both and compare them. being educated makes you a better decision maker.
Is that it?
That's the best you can do? Well, thank you very much for taking your time to come out and listen to me then. Thank you.